First Contact and Rising Tensions. In the year 2157, humanity's first interstellar probe, Voyager 3, transmitted an unexpected burst of data back to Earth. The images and readings it sent shocked the scientific community. Clear evidence of an advanced alien civilization on a planet orbiting Proxima Centauri. Dr. Ilara Chen, lead astrophysicist at NASA's Exoplanetary Research Division, stared at her computer screen in disbelief. "This can't be real," she muttered, zooming in on a structure that could only be described as a city. Her colleague, Dr. Marcus Okafor, leaned over her shoulder, his eyes wide. "But it is, Ilara. We're not alone." The news spread like wildfire across the globe. Governments scrambled to respond. The UN Security Council convened in an emergency session, and the world's population oscillated between excitement and fear. Within months, Earth had mobilized its resources towards a singular goal: establishing direct contact. The Proxima Initiative, as it came to be known, brought together the brightest minds and most advanced technologies from every nation. 2 years later, humanity launched its first faster-than-light spacecraft, the CSS Horizon, carrying a diverse crew of scientists, linguists, and diplomats. Captain Zara Hendricks stood on the bridge, her heart racing as they prepared for the final approach to Proxima. "All systems nominal, Captain," reported her XO, Commander Chenwei. "We're ready for deceleration." Zara nodded, her voice steady despite her nerves. "Take us in, nice and easy." As they entered orbit around Proxima, the alien civilization hailed them. The ship's AI translated, "Unknown vessel, identify yourself and state your purpose." Zara took a deep breath. "This is Captain Zara Hendricks of the CSS Horizon, representing Earth. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge exchange." There was a tense pause before the reply came. "Understood, Earth vessel. Prepare for boarding and inspection." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. The aliens, calling themselves the Proxians, were bipedal beings with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes. They moved with a fluid grace that belied their apparent strength. Initial interactions were cautious but cordial. The Proxians seemed genuinely curious about Earth and its inhabitants. However, as discussions progressed, subtle tensions began to emerge. Erex, the Proxian liaison, tilted his head as he examined a holographic display of Earth's solar system. "Your world seems primitive by our standards, yet you've achieved faster-than-light travel. Curious." Dr. Chen bristled at the comment but maintained her composure. "We may be younger than your civilization, Erex, but we're quick learners." Erex's multifaceted eyes shimmered. "Indeed, perhaps too quick." As the days passed, the Horizon's crew noticed increasing restrictions on their movements and access to Proxian technology. Captain Hendricks voiced her concerns during a private meeting with her senior staff. "They're hiding something," she said, pacing the conference room. "Every time we ask about their energy sources or propulsion systems, they deflect." Dr. Okafor nodded grimly. "I've noticed discrepancies in their explanations of their history. It's as if they're sanitizing it for our benefit." Commander Wee leaned forward, his expression troubled. "Captain, I hate to suggest this, but what if they see us as a potential threat?" Zara stopped pacing, her eyes narrowing. "Then we need to tread carefully. Our mission is too important to jeopardize. We'll play along for now, gather what information we can, and report back to Earth." Little did they know, their suspicions were well-founded. In the depths of the Proxian capital, a secret council convened. High Elder Zix's voice echoed in the chamber. "These humans, they progress too rapidly. If left unchecked, they could surpass us within centuries." Erex, standing before the council, nodded. "I agree, High Elder. Their potential is unsettling." "Then it is decided," Zix declared. "We must act now, while we still hold the advantage. Prepare the fleet. We will subjugate Earth and harness their potential for our own purposes." As the CSS Horizon prepared for its return journey, Blissfully unaware of the Proxians' true intentions, the first seeds of conflict had already been sown. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community had inadvertently set the stage for a war that would define the future of both species. The alien invasion begins. The CSS Horizon's return to Earth was met with global celebration. Humanity reveled in the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe, and governments worldwide began planning for a new era of interstellar diplomacy and trade. But in the shadows, a select few harbored doubts. Captain Zura Hendricks and her crew shared their misgivings with the highest levels of Earth's leadership. Their warnings, however, were largely dismissed as paranoia born from culture shock. Admiral Yuki Tanaka of the newly formed United Earth Defense Force was one of the few who took their concerns seriously. In a classified briefing, she pressed the UN Security Council for increased military preparedness. "We can't afford to be caught off guard," she argued, her normally calm demeanor tinged with urgency. "The Proxians' technology is centuries ahead of ours. If they decided to attack, we'd be defenseless." Her pleas fell on mostly deaf ears. "We can't jeopardize our new relationship with baseless suspicions," the U.S. representative countered. "Think of the scientific and economic opportunities at stake." Frustrated but undeterred, Admiral Tanaka began quietly mobilizing what resources she could, establishing a network of early warning satellites and accelerating research into adapting Proxian technology for defensive purposes. Her foresight would prove invaluable sooner than anyone expected. 6 months after the Horizon's return, on a quiet Tuesday morning, alarms blared in UEDF headquarters. Admiral Tanaka rushed to the control room, her heart pounding. "Report," she barked. A young lieutenant, his face pale, responded. "Multiple unknown objects detected entering the solar system." "Sir, they're moving at impossible speeds." Tanaka's blood ran cold. "Show me." The main screen lit up, displaying a swarm of ships unlike anything humans had ever built. They moved with a precision and speed that defied conventional physics, effortlessly evading the debris of the Kuiper Belt. "How long until they reach Earth?" Tanaka demanded. The lieutenant swallowed hard. "At their current speed, less than 6 hours." Tanaka's mind raced. 6 hours to prepare for an invasion they had no hope of repelling. She turned to her communications officer. "Send out the global alert. Code Black. And get me the Security Council. Now." As the invasion force approached, Earth erupted into chaos. Panic spread like wildfire as governments struggled to coordinate a response. Military assets were mobilized, but against an enemy that could cross interstellar distances in days, what hope did sublight fighters and missiles have? The first strikes came without warning. Proxian ships appeared in low Earth orbit, their advanced cloaking technology rendering them invisible until the moment they attacked. Precision energy weapons lanced down from the sky, targeting military installations, power grids, and communication centers. In New York, the United Nations building collapsed in a pile of rubble and smoke. In Beijing, the Forbidden City was reduced to ashes. The pyramids of Giza, standing for millennia, were vaporized in seconds. Humanity's retaliation was fierce but futile. Fighter jets were swatted from the sky like flies. Nuclear missiles were intercepted long before they could reach their targets. It was a slaughter. As the first day of the invasion drew to a close, Admiral Tanaka stood in the smoking ruins of the Pentagon, coordinating what resistance she could. A holographic map showed the spread of Proxian control. Already, they had established footholds on every continent. Captain Hendricks, who had been recalled to active duty, approached Tanaka, her uniform singed and torn. "Admiral, we've lost contact with Moscow and New Delhi. London is under siege. What are your orders?" Tanaka's eyes were hard as she surveyed the map. "We can't win this war conventionally, Captain. But we're not beaten yet. Humanity has a long history of fighting against overwhelming odds." She turned to face Hendricks, her expression grim but determined. "Initiate Operation Phoenix. We're going underground." over the next few weeks as Proxian forces tightened their grip on the planet's surface. Pockets of resistance formed in hidden bunkers and forgotten tunnels. The remnants of Earth's military, along with millions of civilians, retreated to these sanctuaries, carrying with them whatever weapons and technology they could salvage. In one such bunker, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Tanaka addressed a group of Earth's remaining leaders and top scientists. The room was tense, the air thick with fear and determination. "We may have lost the first battle," Tanaka declared, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. "But this war is far from over. The Proxians think they've broken us, that we'll submit to their rule. They don't understand humanity. We don't give up. We adapt. We overcome." She gestured to Dr. Ilara Chen, who stepped forward. "Thanks to the data gathered by the CSS Horizon, we have a basic understanding of Proxian technology. It's time we put that knowledge to use. Dr. Chen, tell them about Project Lazarus." Ilara nodded, her eyes bright with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Project Lazarus is our plan to reverse engineer and improve upon Proxian tech. We're not just aiming to catch up, we're aiming to surpass them." As she outlined the ambitious project, a spark of hope ignited in the room. Humanity had been knocked down, but they weren't out. In the darkness of defeat, the seeds of resurrection were being sown. Unknown to the Proxians, who believed their victory all but complete, humanity was preparing for a comeback that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. Humanity's technological leap. In the years following the Proxian invasion, Earth's surface became a wasteland of ruined cities and alien fortifications. The conquerors, believing they had crushed all meaningful resistance, settled into a routine of resource extraction and half-hearted searches for human holdouts. But deep underground, in vast networks of bunkers and tunnels, humanity refused to accept defeat. These subterranean cities became crucibles of innovation, where desperation and determination fueled unprecedented scientific breakthroughs. At the heart of this renaissance was Project Lazarus, led by Dr. Ilara Chen. In a sprawling laboratory complex beneath the former city of Denver, she stood before a holographic display, explaining her latest findings to Admiral Tanaka and a group of military and scientific leaders. "The key to Proxian technology," Ilara said, manipulating the hologram to show a complex molecular structure, "is their mastery of quantum entanglement. They don't just use it for communication. It's the foundation of their energy production, their FTL drives, even their weapons." Admiral Tanaka leaned forward, her eyes narrowed. "And you've figured out how to replicate it." Ilara's lips curved into a smile. "Not just replicate, Admiral. Improve upon it." She expanded the hologram, showing a modified version of the structure. "By introducing a phase-shifted resonance into the quantum field, we can amplify the energy output exponentially. In theory, this could give us weapons capable of penetrating Proxian shields and drives that could outmaneuver their fastest ships." The room erupted into excited murmurs. Captain Hendricks, now a key figure in Earth's resistance, spoke up. "In theory. Have you tested it?" Ilara's excitement dimmed slightly. "Small-scale tests have been promising, but we need more resources for a full prototype. Resources we don't have down here." Admiral Tanaka's expression hardened. "Then we'll get them. Captain Hendricks, assemble a team. It's time we reminded the Proxians that humanity is still in this fight." Over the next few months, daring raids on Proxian outposts became more frequent. Human strike teams, using guerrilla tactics and the few pieces of advanced tech they had managed to develop, hit alien supply depots and research facilities. These attacks served a dual purpose, gathering crucial materials and data for Project Lazarus, and sowing confusion and fear among the Proxian occupiers. The aliens, who had grown complacent in their perceived victory, found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to appear and disappear like ghosts. In a Proxian command center in what was once Beijing, High Commander Zix raged at his subordinates. "How is this possible? We conquered this primitive world years ago. How are they still resisting?" Erex, now a senior military advisor, attempted to calm his leader. "These are just isolated incidents, High Commander. The humans are resourceful, but they can't hope to truly challenge our dominion." Zix's multifaceted eyes flashed dangerously. "Your assurances ring hollow, Orcs. Find these resistance fighters and crush them, or I'll find someone who can." As the Proxians scrambled to respond to the growing human threat, Project Lazarus made its first major breakthrough. In a heavily guarded testing chamber, Dr. Chen and her team gathered around a device no larger than a microwave oven. "Initiating quantum cascade," one of the scientists announced, his fingers dancing over a control panel. The device hummed to life, a soft blue glow emanating from its core. Ilara held her breath, watching the energy readings climb steadily. Power output at 120% of Proxian equivalent, 150%, 200%. The excitement in the scientist's voice was palpable. Ilara allowed herself a moment of elation before turning to Admiral Tanaka, who had been observing silently. "We did it. With this, we can begin full-scale production of weapons and shields that can match, even exceed, Proxian capabilities." Tanaka nodded, a fierce pride in her eyes. "Excellent work, Doctor. How soon can we begin outfitting our forces?" "We can start immediately with smaller weapons and personal shields. Larger applications, like ship drives and heavy weaponry, will take a few more months to perfect." The Admiral's mind was already racing with the strategic possibilities. "Make it happen. It's time we took this war to the next level." Over the next year, human resistance cells across the globe were gradually equipped with the fruits of Project Lazarus. Quantum-enhanced weapons capable of bypassing Proxian shields. Personal cloaking devices that rendered soldiers nearly invisible. Communication systems that the aliens couldn't intercept or jam. The tide of guerrilla warfare began to turn. Proxian patrols found themselves ambushed by enemies they couldn't detect until it was too late. Alien strongholds, once impregnable, were breached by humans wielding weapons that shouldn't have existed. In orbit, the first human ships equipped with the new quantum drives made their debut. These vessels, small and agile, ran circles around the lumbering Proxian cruisers. Hit-and-run attacks on the alien fleet became increasingly bold and effective. The Proxians, for the first time since the invasion, began to feel fear. High Commander Zix, in a secure bunker beneath the ruins of London, received report after report of human victories. "Impossible," he muttered, his iridescent skin paling. "How could they have advanced so quickly?" Erex, looking haggard and beaten, could only shake his head. "We underestimated them, High Commander. Their adaptability, their drive, it's unlike anything we've encountered before." Zix's eyes narrowed. "No matter. We still hold air superiority. Initiate orbital bombardment of all suspected human strongholds. We'll scorch this planet clean if we have to." But even as he gave the order, a part of him knew it was too late. The humans, thought subjugated and broken, had risen from the ashes, and they were coming for the Proxians with a vengeance. In the Denver complex, Admiral Tanaka addressed a room full of resistance leaders, her voice filled with determination. "The time for hiding is over. Thanks to the brilliance of Dr. Chen and her team, we now have the tools to take the fight directly to the enemy. The Proxians thought they had conquered Earth. It's time we showed them how wrong they were." A cheer went up from the assembled crowd. After years of hardship and hiding, humanity was ready to reclaim their world. The real war was about to begin. Part 4. The Counterattack. The early morning sky over what was once Chicago erupted in a dazzling display of light and energy. Proxian cruisers, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of human ships, scrambled to respond. But the smaller, faster Earth vessels, powered by their quantum drives, danced between enemy fire with impossible agility. Captain Zura Hendricks, at the helm of the UES Phoenix, Earth's first capital ship built with the new technology, barked orders to her crew. "Evasive pattern Delta. Bring us in close to their flagship, the Phoenix, a sleek. The counterattack. The early morning sky over what was once Chicago erupted in a dazzling display of light and energy. Proxian cruisers, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of human ships, scrambled to respond. But the smaller, faster Earth vessels, powered by their quantum drives, danced between enemy fire with impossible agility. Captain Zora Hendricks, at the helm of the UES Phoenix, Earth's first capital ship built with the new technology, barked orders to her crew. Evasive pattern Delta, bring us in close to their flagship. The Phoenix, a sleek vessel that seemed to shimmer in and out of reality, cut through space like a knife. Proxian energy beams dissipated harmlessly against its advanced shields. "We're in range, Captain," the weapons officer reported, her fingers hovering over the controls. Zara's eyes narrowed. "Fire quantum torpedoes. Full spread." A salvo of brilliant blue projectiles erupted from the Phoenix, streaking towards the Proxian flagship. The alien vessel's shields, once thought impenetrable, flickered and failed under the onslaught. Secondary explosions blossomed across its hull. "Direct hit," the tactical officer shouted, unable to contain his excitement. "Their shields are down, and they're venting atmosphere." Zara allowed herself a grim smile. "Press the advantage. All ships, concentrate fire on their command section." The battle for Earth's skies had begun in earnest, and humanity was no longer the underdog. On the ground, the counteroffensive was equally fierce. In the ruins of Paris, a squad of human soldiers, led by Major Marcus Okafor, advanced through the streets. Their quantum-enhanced armor rendered them nearly invisible, their weapons humming with barely contained energy. "Movement ahead," whispered Sergeant Anna Kovac, her enhanced sensors picking up alien biosignatures. Marcus nodded, signaling the team to take cover. A Proxian patrol rounded the corner, their iridescent skin gleaming in the morning light. They moved with the confidence of conquerors, unaware of the threat lurking in the shadows. "Wait for my signal," Marcus breathed into his comm. He watched the aliens draw closer, timing his attack perfectly. Now, the human squad materialized as if from thin air, their weapons blazing. The Proxians, caught completely off guard, fell before they could even raise their own weapons. As the last alien fell, Marcus surveyed the scene. "Area clear. Move up to the next checkpoint." Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity emerged from hiding to reclaim their world. The Proxians, who had grown complacent in their occupation, found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. In orbit, the space battle raged on. The UES Phoenix led a daring assault on the Proxians' main command station, a massive structure that loomed over the planet like a malevolent star. "All ships, form up on me," Zora commanded, her voice steadied despite the chaos around her. "We're going to punch a hole in their defenses. Ground teams, stand ready for insertion." The human fleet moved as one, their coordinated attack overwhelming the station's outer defenses. As they closed in, drop pods launched from the ships, streaking towards the structure. Inside one of those pods, Major Okafor and his team braced for impact. Their mission was critical: infiltrate the station and disable its main weapons array, preventing the Proxians from unleashing an orbital bombardment on Earth's resurgent forces. The pod slammed into the station's hull, drills engaging to bore through the thick armor. As the hatch blew open, Marcus led his team into the alien corridor. "Remember, we're on a clock here. Move fast, stay quiet, and watch each other's backs." They encountered sporadic resistance as they pushed towards the central control room. The Proxians, unused to fighting an enemy on equal technological footing, fell back in disarray. As they approached their objective, a massive blast door blocked their path. "Charges set," Sergeant Kovac reported, placing quantum-enhanced explosives on the door's weak points. The explosion rocked the station, and through the smoke, the human strike team poured into the control room. The Proxian commanders inside barely had time to register the intrusion before precision fire cut them down. "Control room secured," Marcus reported, as his team moved to the main console. Initiating shutdown of weapon systems. Back on the Phoenix, Zara received the confirmation she'd been waiting for. "The station is neutralized," she announced to the fleet. "All ships, commence final attack run. Let's end this." The combined firepower of the human fleet converged on the now defenseless command station. Explosions blossomed across its surface, growing in intensity until, with a final cataclysmic blast, the entire structure detonated. A cheer went up across the human channels. The Proxian command was in disarray, their forces scattered and confused without central coordination. On Earth, Admiral Tanaka watched the feeds from her command center, a fierce pride swelling in her chest. "Push the advantage," she ordered. "Don't let up until we've secured every major city." As reports of human victories flooded in from across the globe, the Admiral allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had done the impossible, risen from the ashes of defeat to challenge their conquerors. But she knew the war was far from over. In the Proxian High Command bunker, High Commander Zix watched in disbelief as his forces crumbled before the human onslaught. "How?" he raged, his multifaceted eyes flashing with fury and fear. "How could they have advanced so quickly?" Orcs, looking defeated, could only shake his head. "We underestimated them, High Commander. Their resilience, their adaptability. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered." Zix's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Then we'll show them the true might of the Proxian Empire. Summon the reserve fleet from the home system. We'll turn this planet to ash before we let the humans reclaim it." As the orders went out, neither Zix nor Orcs realized that their transmission had been intercepted by human intelligence. The final battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Victory and a new galactic order. The news of an incoming Proxian reserve fleet sent shockwaves through Earth's newly liberated cities. After tasting victory, the prospect of facing an even larger alien armada threatened to crush the hard-won morale of humanity's defenders. In the Denver Command Center, now serving as the de facto capital of Free Earth, Admiral Tanaka convened an emergency war council. Leaders from around the globe attended in person or via secure quantum communications. "The Proxian reserves will arrive within a week," Tanaka announced, her face grim but determined. "We've bloodied their nose, but this is their counterpunch. Ideas." The room erupted in a cacophony of voices, some advocating for a defensive strategy, others pushing for a preemptive strike. It was Dr. Ilara Chen who finally cut through the noise. "We can't win this conventionally," she stated, her voice calm but firm. "Even with our technological advancements, we're outnumbered and outgunned." "But," she paused, making sure she had everyone's attention, "what if we could turn their own technology against them on a massive scale?" Captain Hendricks, fresh from her victory in orbit, leaned forward. "What do you have in mind, Doctor?" Ilara manipulated the holographic display, showing a complex network of energy patterns. "We've been focusing on weaponizing quantum entanglement. But what if we could use it to create a system-wide disruption field, something that would render their technology, and ours, inoperable?" The implications were staggering. Admiral Tanaka's eyes narrowed. "You're talking about resetting the playing field, bringing us both back to pre-FTL technology." Ilara nodded. "Exactly. It's risky. We'd be giving up our own advancements. But we have something the Proxians don't. Experience fighting with limited technology. And more importantly, the will to persevere against overwhelming odds." The room fell silent as the weight of the decision settled over them. It was Major Okafor who broke the silence. "We came back from the brink once. We can do it again. I say we take the risk." One by one, the other leaders voiced their agreement. Admiral Tanaka stood, her decision made. "Very well. Dr. Chen, you have every resource at your disposal. Make this happen. The rest of you, prepare your forces. We'll need to coordinate a global assault to keep the Proxians distracted while the device is deployed." The next week was a flurry of activity. As the Proxian reserve fleet approached, humanity prepared for their most audacious gambit yet. The day of reckoning arrived with the Proxian fleet appearing in the outer solar system, a vast armada that dwarfed their original invasion force. High Commander Zix, aboard the fleet's flagship, allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "See, Erex, the humans' luck ends today. Prepare for full assault." But as the Proxian fleet moved inward, they found themselves facing not just the remnants of Earth's defenders, but a fully mobilized global force. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier that humanity could muster stood ready to meet the alien armada. The battle that ensued was unlike anything the solar system had ever witnessed. Human ships, still outnumbered but fighting with desperate courage, clashed with the Proxian fleet. The skies above Earth lit up with energy weapons and explosions, a light show visible even from the ground. Aboard the UES Phoenix, Captain Hendricks coordinated the space defense. "All ships engage at will. Keep them occupied and away from Earth at all costs." On the planet's surface, ground forces led by Major Okafor fought to hold key positions against Proxian landing parties. The streets of every major city became battlegrounds, with humans and aliens locked in fierce combat. But this furious battle was just a distraction. In a hidden facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Chen and her team worked feverishly to bring their doomsday device online. "Quantum matrix stable," one of the scientists reported. "Entanglement field expanding." Ilara's fingers flew over the controls, making last-minute adjustments. "Initiate final sequence. May God forgive us." With the press of a button, a wave of invisible energy burst forth from the device, expanding at the speed of light. As it washed over the battling fleets, ships on both sides suddenly lost power, drifting helplessly in space. On Earth, advanced weapons flickered and died, leaving soldiers on both sides clutching useless hunks of metal. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, chaos erupted. In orbit, the crews of now powerless ships scrambled to regain control. Some vessels, caught in Earth's gravity well, began to fall, becoming brilliant streaks across the sky as they burned up in the atmosphere. On the ground, the fighting devolved into hand-to-hand combat. Humans, trained for this possibility, quickly gained the upper hand against the confused and disoriented Proxians. Aboard the Proxian flagship, now little more than a drifting hulk, High Commander Zix stared in disbelief at dead consoles. What have they done? Erex, for once, had no answer. The battle raged on for days, but the outcome was never in doubt. Without their technological advantage, the Proxians found themselves facing an enemy that was not only equal, but superior in terms of adaptability and sheer determination. One by one, alien strongholds fell. Proxian soldiers, cut off from their command and support structures, began to surrender en masse. 2 weeks after the activation of the quantum disruption device, Admiral Tanaka stood before a group of Proxian leaders, including a captured High Commander Zix, in the ruins of what was once the United Nations building in New York. "Your war is over," she declared, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's hard-won victory. "Earth is free, and humanity will no longer tolerate any threat to our sovereignty." Zix, his once proud posture now slumped in defeat, spoke quietly. "What now, Admiral? Will you exterminate us as we sought to subjugate you?" Tanaka's expression remained stern, but there was a glimmer of something else in her eyes. Hope, perhaps, or a vision of a different future. "No, that's not our way. Instead, we offer you a choice. Leave our solar system and never return, or stay and work with us to rebuild. Not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals." The Proxian leaders exchanged shocked glances. This magnanimity was alien to them, but in it they saw a strength greater than any weapon. In the years that followed, a new galactic order began to take shape. As technology slowly recovered from the quantum disruption, Earth emerged as a central figure in interstellar politics. The alliance between humans and reformed Proxians became a model for cooperation between species. Exploration ships, now crewed by both humans and aliens, set out to discover new worlds and new civilizations. They carried with them a simple message: the galaxy is vast, with room for all. But those who seek to dominate others will find Earth and its allies standing against them. As for the heroes of the war, they found themselves adjusting to peace. Admiral Tanaka became Earth's first ambassador to the newly formed Galactic Council. Captain Hendricks took command of a joint human-Proxian expedition to the Galactic Core. Major Okafor established a multi-species security force to maintain peace in the solar system. And Dr. Ilara Chen, the architect of both humanity's technological leap and its reset, embarked on a new project. Working alongside Proxian scientists, she sought to develop technologies that would unite rather than divide, that would explore rather than conquer. On a clear night, 5 years after the end of the war, Ilara stood on a balcony overlooking the rebuilt skyline of New York. The city glowed with a mix of human and alien architecture, a testament to the new era of cooperation. As she gazed up at the stars, no longer a distant mystery, but a frontier filled with both promise and challenge, Ilara smiled. Humanity had faced its greatest trial and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The future, with all its uncertainty, beckoned. And this time, Earth would meet it not alone, but as part of a greater galactic community, a community that had learned, through blood and fire, the true meaning of coexistence. The stars twinkled overhead, each one a potential new beginning. Humanity's next great adventure was just starting.